go by Laura, is that?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a Lori and a Laura. Wonderful. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
Sarah and a Sarah, remember before?
Oh, we did,
Yeah.
that's right,
One
I
with an H and
forgot.
one with an H.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And sir, you're visiting us tonight?
Yes, I am. Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road.
Oh, I think you've come to visit us before, correct?
Yes, and it's time to come again.
Wonderful,
Great.
wonderful.
And it's already paid dividends, because what Bill just talked about, I want to talk to him about later, because I have a similar family story.
Like to hear it, Mike. Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful, well, welcome back, Mike, it's nice to
Thank
have
you.
you here. And if you have any questions, just give me a shout. Just out of curiosity, I know you keep track of like town meetings and stuff like that, so you just saw this on the town meeting site?
Oh, yeah, I check weekly, see what's
Great.
coming up, check the
Great.
agendas, just to see if there's something of
Wonderful.
specific interest. But I like to go to random meetings, just to
Mhm.
stay in touch with what's going on the various commissions, councils, boards.
Absolutely, it's always good to find out, so welcome. We're going to, so the meeting has begun. And Laura, I've never been a chair before, so some of the ordery things it's not my, as we say, wheelhouse, so I'm not the best at it, but
I'm going to blog about your blatant disregard for Robert's Rules of Order after I get home.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I know that I get the agenda posted on time, so there's pieces you have to do, and I know I'm doing that. So we can review and approve our most recent minutes, which we actually have not met since November, which was a while ago. But that was nice that we didn't need to meet, until now. And so, we had we had Lori Engel at that last meeting, otherwise it was our same people. Laura's new and she's welcomed. Melissa is also officially on the team and she could not attend tonight. So at our last meeting, we had a financial update. I can look at, I don't.
These are the
You-
other nights from her email.
Oh, okay, cause I didn't print them out or anything, cause I lazily rely on Lori to go through those for me. So perhaps you can do those for us in a minute, Jonathan, that would be great. We had talked about the grant applications and we had previously spoken about the grant applications. So when we went through them at this meeting, we pretty much just, we went right on through and got it done. And we did the financial allocations and we, set up a time to meet, but we decided we didn't need to meet in December. And, so here we are. We were able to, as the notes in the minutes indicate, we had 28 applications this year and we were able to fully or partially fund 16 applicants, which was good. And we really, I think we pretty much had good agreement on, most of our grantees and things like that, so that was good. And then we made an ultimate decision to meet in March, and here we go. So it's very nice to see everybody tonight. I was gonna welcome Melissa, but I'll welcome her in her absence. We're gonna welcome you, and is it Foley or
Yes.
Follett?
Holy.
Foley, that's what I thought, okay, all right, that's what I thought, all right, got it. Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the
Oh, sorry,
minutes as,
see, that's what I said.
Described and as they read.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye, wonderful, so the minutes are accepted as submitted, Donna, thank you very much. Laura, so, I'm the chair, Donna's our secretary, Lori Engel is our treasurer. Jonathan and Bill are members. They don't have official roles, but they're very busy helping us. Jonathan was appointed last summer, Jonathan?
Yes.
So Jonathan was appointed last summer, he'll have a 3-year term. Donna, Lori, and I, and Bill will all term out at the end of June. And Bill came back as a special
Out of
request.
retirement, yeah.
Yeah, we dragged Bill out of
After
retirement.
3 terms, I mean, stints, yeah.
And I don't know if you've had much of an opportunity to review the State Cultural Council site. One of the, particularly in towns where it's hard to get people to volunteer, one of the, stipulations of being on a cultural council is you can only have 2 consecutive 3-year terms. And then you have to step aside. It was interesting, when I went to that, nature walk on the Saturday morning several weeks ago, there was a woman there from the West Boylston Cultural Council. And, she was like picking my brain, and how do you guys do this, and how do you guys do that? It was very interesting. She said that they often don't have enough people for the year, and I said, boy, I thought we had to have enough people and nothing about a quorum. I mean, that's why we brought you back, even though we're very happy to have you, Bill. And she was like, oh, really? But she also said they have a very active, like, core in their town of like 5 or 6 people, and they just keep rotating in and out. And so when one person terms out, they sit out their year and then they come back.
Oh, wow.
But frequently, it kind of reminded me of something that like Lori would do, because she's so dedicated, that apparently they term out, but they're still doing everything in the background. And then they come back in as a full voting member the year later. So
Dedication.
it was interesting to hear, and I don't know what you've heard about, you said your mom's on the.
My mother, Joanne Brinker, is one of the members in the Dudley.
Right, and you
Yes.
said they do things differently as well.
They meet only once a year, and that's through the voting. Everything else is coordinated through email and voice calls.
Right,
So they do assignments to research each of the grantees. They divvy them up, and then they meet in the fall, right before the deadline there, and do the final vote for the
Right.
submission.
yeah, so it's interesting how different cultural councils work. It was
Jonathan,
interesting.
how big a budget, do you have any idea, how big a budget they have?
14,000
Okay,
roughly.
so more than
How
double
is
hours.
that not in violation of open meeting laws?
I wondered about that, I very much wondered about that. My husband's, he works for the town, and he's also on the, Open Space Commission, and he's all into all the minutia of these things, and he'll say things to me like, I'll ask, I'll be like, can we discuss this on email? He'll be like, nope, you know, that,
Right.
it's very specific what you can discuss.
Just full disclosure, she did not explain to me how the communication ran offline out of the conference room. If it was, like, for instance, I think Gardner has a public communication system where you can actually track what flies around.
Like open charting.
Exactly. I don't know if they have a similar system there that
They
would
might.
fulfill that openness requirement, right?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, and I was surprised, cause I thought that it would strike me that West Boylston's a lot bigger than we are.
Yeah.
They had about the same amount of money.
Hmm.
I was really surprised on that.
Could have something to do with, in previous years, what they used. And
Oh,
if
is
they
that-
didn't spend the money, they might have decided to allocate them a different amount,
Right.
but they're bigger than us, I mean.
Yeah, no, I was surprised they had the same amount of money, so that's.
That's why I questioned, because Dudley, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bigger town.
Yeah, no, I was
Yeah.
surprised on that.
They're also a population of 12,000, so.
Yeah, no, that's a
More than
lot.
double hours,
Did they
yeah.
only do that because of COVID maybe, or was that?
I don't know. Just a single conversation I had with her, I noticed the stack of papers next to her chair there in her office. Oh, you're, and, we start talking about a little bit during a family gathering, but I can get more information if you're, curious as to.
Well, I was wondering if maybe something,
yeah.
they found out on that during COVID.
Yeah.
Cause we did, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had our Zoom meetings,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, which, and we still, where I'm at work in Worcester, we still do a ton of Zoom. There's still a lot of it, it's not going away. Telehealth and Zoom are not going away.
It's very convenient.
Once you get used to it, it really is. So anyway, welcome, Laura. Any
Thank you.
questions you have, anything you wanna share with us or anything?
I served on this committee a while ago, I can't remember how long ago, but
Great.
I'm familiar with the operation of it, or at least how it was back in the days that I served.
Wonderful.
And I'm looking forward to giving money away to deserving people.
Wonderful, wonderful. I don't go on the Mass Cultural Council website probably as often as I should. I do try to read the emails that they send out. We have like a point person. Do you guys get the emails from her?
Yeah.
So we have a point person who will remind us what we're supposed to be doing and gives us frequent updates and things like that. It's a very active organization. They have a couple good webinars that I watched one of them live last fall, like how to do this and that, and it's a really great thing, but the actual, as Jonathan can share with us, the actual details of, allocating the funds and making it all match up and things like that is a little, it's very detail oriented.
Yeah, they're very good about giving instructions and holding your hand through the process. I think Mr. Brace had sent, 4 or 5 emails in the fall and helped us through that process. And then in December and January, he sent reminders, oh, by the way, you have to get these in, and he was very good at keeping us on track, for those deadlines.
Right, yeah, no, they do that quite a bit. And so, welcome, we're very glad to have you, and move forward. The grant notification process, Jonathan, can you tell us a little bit more about it, or you just did all your paperwork and got it all sent in?
I sent an email out to the group
Yes.
with the results with the, I did a mail merge, based off of so you can actually, back up. You can export the summary data that includes the dollar amount, the title, the
I've
synopsis.
looked at it, yeah,
And then I took a Microsoft Word and I did a mail merge with everybody in and clicked a single button and it spit everything out in PDF form. And then I think the longest part of that process was actually going through with Gmail and plugging each message in for each grantee.
right, yeah, 'cause I have
Yep.
one of them. right
Exactly.
here.
There were a few of them I had to go in and hand type some changes on the verbiage because they were either participating in the field day event or, there were some specifics that were relevant to their application.
Right. Did you, or did anybody, it was the juggler guy that you couldn't send an email to?
Correct.
So he got a snail mail?
I printed out a snail mail and put it in. I've not heard back from him. My contact information was on that letter.
Mm-hmm, okay.
So he's not responded back. So I don't.
Did you try that second email I sent you? 'Cause
I
that's how-
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't
yeah.
bounce back.
No, it did bounce back.
That bounced back
Yeah,
too.
he's MIA at this point. I don't know how to get in touch with him. If anybody else has any other even indirect contact with him.
I don't know if the state can, if the cultural council can, if the state cultural council can say whether or not he's logged in to look. I don't know. I think it's upon him.
Yeah.
Was
And
there a
if this
phone
is-
number?
I don't think so.
Yes, I was disconnected.
Okay, oh gosh.
What's his
Yeah,
name?
his website is there, but none of the contact information works on it from what I remember. I remember going through everything and trying everything I could to get in contact with him.
Yeah, and I found
Yeah.
his, it was either a
Yep.
Facebook page or a
Yep.
website. And on the website, I think it actually said, hey, my email doesn't work.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. Cause he's performed for us twice, and we've been happy with him, so,
Well, last year I wasn't.
yeah, you said that.
I was
We'll
fussy
keep an eye
about
on
that
it.
last year.
What is his name?
Henry Lappen, Lappen. And so, and I was curious because we
Mhm.
awarded him less money than he had asked for. So I was curious how he felt, and did we have any responses from Gregory Maychek?
I've not heard from Maycheck. No.
Okay, and I don't know if the library has, if they've heard from him, because those were the two that I think probably expected a full amount from us, and we
Yep.
didn't give a full amount. We didn't give full amounts to a number of people, but my guess would be those would be the two that would be like, hey, what's going on? You didn't give me my money, so.
I'm not too worried about the juggler, Mr. Lappin, more so, more about is everything okay, because his primary mode of communication with the public right now is not working. That would be my concern with him.
Mhm.
He has to submit anyways a reimbursement form, correct, to get the money, after he performs his act. So, aside from, say if he doesn't, do his event and submit the reimbursement form, the money gets pushed, it becomes unencumbered and pushed to the next grant year. That'd be my only, concern is, well, now that money gets pushed and we can't use it until next year.
And he's for the fair, isn't he?
Correct.
Yeah, so that's
Uh,
June versus.
field day.
Gives us a little less time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. And just to clarify, so for the fair, it's the juggler and is the juggler at the fair and that's it, and then field day is our pottery guy and the crop dusters, and then the 2 Lions Club things, is that correct? Does that sound right?
It's the 4th, I believe.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, so he's actually the only one that we have at the fair then, I think. Cause last year we had him and we had Mr. Ukulele and we decided not to have Mr. Ukulele this year. So I was just kinda trying to specify.
So we try to reach him because he hasn't been paid yet for his,
Well, he won't get paid until he submits a reimbursement form,
And he
but he
hasn't
has
done
to
that
have his
yet.
event held before he submits the form. So worst case scenario, the end of the 2023 happens, we don't receive
Oh, okay.
the reimbursement form with the information on it, and we just move the money to the next year.
yeah.
My only concern with all this is that we award him the money, he didn't use it, and it could have been used for someone else.
yeah.
Right,
But primarily, I'd be more concerned with, he can't be contacted via his website, is there, more going on there, right?
yeah, yeah, I,
How much time has transpired since you sent the letter?
A month and a half? I have to go back and look at my
Yeah,
email
gosh.
communications.
Oh, but that's a major amount of time.
Yeah, it's not I'll get to you next week, it's
Yeah.
been weeks since, I sent all the information out.
But he get, just to be sure, in my head, he got paid for 2022?
he did, I
Okay.
remember
So we're talking
Lori
about- yeah.
showed us his receipt, it actually, I think his invoice was like scribbled.
What was the last name again, I'm sorry?
Lappin,
Lappin, that's right.
Lappem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I checked his website and I certainly didn't see anything. I wouldn't be surprised if he's somebody who heads south for the winter and performs all over, like, I don't know, Florida or something.
Key West, huh?
Yeah, and then comes back in the fall, in the summer here. I don't know.
And we had nobody that said they were unhappy with the amount we awarded them, because they have a certain amount of time to respond to that. And we've had no indication that
Right,
the others are unhappy with the amount that we awarded them, so
right,
full speed ahead.
yeah. Yeah, and do they have a period of time where they didn't get anything awarded, where we decided not to
Mhm.
award them? They have a specific period of time when we talk to them, when they can appeal, but, if we awarded them a grant, but we awarded them a smaller amount, that's upon them to reach out to us.
That would be great.
So I'm assuming that means they've accepted it.
Yeah, nobody ever has, I don't think.
Nobody.
No,
No.
no.
And they usually will say that they have other sources to get funding,
Right,
to be subsidized. And because we say, when we respond to them, will you be able to still conduct it with this amount of money?
Mhm.
And if they have objection to that, they state it, but nobody does that, so either they do it for less. And there's been a couple of times when they said if we gave them less, that they would kind of modify their presentation,
Mhm.
but nobody's made anything to indicate that they would do that, so I presume that everybody is satisfied with the amount that we gave them.
Okay.
January 20th is when I sent out the initial email.
Okay, that's a month and a half.
Yep.
yeah. I would just guess that he gets back to people when he gets back to people, if he wants to, would be my guess.
But the website that he posted, he's got a problem with,
I think so, I think
Yeah.
Jonathan, you were
Yeah.
just on that website, right?
Correct.
And it says it
His
doesn't
website.
work.
So, that information doesn't work.
okay,
email bounces and the phone number's disconnected. Unless his
Well, we
number's
made
active
every
again,
effort,
but.
so.
So how is it that someone based in Amherst can apply for a grant here, because the event is here in Hubbardston?
Yep,
Mhm.
that's one of the criterias that we look at when we do our votes.
But we have given a grant like to the Fitchburg Art Museum,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because they cover the area, and we thought that the content of what they had for that exhibit met the criteria of what we're looking for cultural, educational, entertainment purposes and demographics. And, you know, and it's been like $100 or $200 we've given them, not
Yeah.
a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
And when we looked at what they did, we all thought that it was, met the criteria.
Yeah, and for the most part, Laura, we do very closely look at where the grant comes. I mean, I know when I'm looking at the list, it's like, where are they coming out of? You can tell that there are certain groups, performers, artists, who are kind of blanketing cultural councils throughout Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And they're pretty easy to sniff them out. And so I don't think we've ever awarded something to those who are far off. I think the singer that we had last year, I can't remember his name, the guy who was also with the Crop Dusters, who we voted against this year, he reapplied this year. Sorry, his name just escaped me. He's from more like the Cape area, but he was very much, you know, he had a plan of coming up here and when to perform,
He
but.
was willing to travel and do it locally.
Right, yeah, he was willing to do all of that, so, but yeah, where they're coming out of definitely has a lot of bearing
Yeah,
on.
there was a musical group, if I remember right, in Winchendon that we voted on this last year.
Mhm.
They had two submissions. One was for the entire group, and then there were another submission just for the Hubbardston members.
Right.
Now, we would like to, you know, award both of them, but we decided just to do the one with the Hubbardston members because that met the criteria of it's making an impact on Hubbardston because of the representation of Hubbardston in the group. So.
Yeah, and it's, in theory, the performers are supposed to do their own press. That often doesn't really occur. But we do try to encourage them to tell us when they're gonna perform, so we can at least try to encourage, you know, attendance and things
And we
like that.
post it on Facebook.
Mhm.
And then we all try to make an effort to have representation at every event. And I think we've done that, just about every event.
We've been
We've had
pretty
somebody
good.
there,
Mhm.
so that we can enjoy and review at the same time, and then report back to the group, and as we'll be doing, regarding if we thought the event was worthwhile, because they may be applying again. So, and we've made observations where we definitely wouldn't do them again
Mhm.
because of poor attendance or just the way that it was pulled off. But I think that's an important criteria to keep in mind for the future, to literally, and that's when we do our emails, I can make it, I can't make it, that type of thing. And we always have had somebody at just about every event.
Well, could you please clarify, because it sounded like you were saying that the Hubbardston Cultural Council acts as a PR agent for the grantees.
Mhm. We do.
Yeah.
Generally, yes, the grantee in theory is supposed to be producing their own PR, but they don't often do it. They usually say like some kind of blanket statement in their application, you know.
On the award letter, there's a blurb and there's a link that we provide them. There's actually on the Massachusetts Cultural site, there's a deliverables page that the grantee can go to, and they give you all the documents, letterhead, logos, for the grantee to use as promotional material when they do their advertising.
To what extent does the council take an active stance? I mean, do we write press releases? Do we post to their website, things like that?
I will post things on Facebook, particularly if they send me something, or if they haven't sent me something, I may just put up a quick post. The Ware River Nature Club was very good at sending me documents that I could just copy and paste right into Facebook, and they picked up beautifully. The Ware River Club, they actually did their own press. They had things in the paper, they really did do their own press.
When you say posting on Facebook, specifically the Hubbardston Cultural Council page?
Yep.
Okay.
I would usually post on the Hubbardston Cultural Council page, but then I'll usually share, because that gets only so many eyes unless I boost it. So then what I'll usually do is I'll go back onto Facebook as myself, and then I'll share it to the People of Hubbardston page. That really is probably one of our best mechanisms to get the word out.
And I think that now, where we have the reader board,
Oh, yeah, the official one,
we've
yeah.
done it a couple times, with the one that was at the rec field. But more, now I think it would be good if we really take advantage of that, where it can be posted on the new reader board.
Right,
And then the other thing we can do, and I'd recommend, is the sooner we know our grants, and it's kind of always a hit and miss. We have the Quabbin Quarterly that
right.
comes out, and we do supplement them. We give them a $2.50 or something like that. And they would be willing to post anything if we give them enough time, but they only come out quarterly, so I don't think, I'd like to see us take advantage of that if we knew. But you have to have the who, what, when, where, why, and all that beforehand with plenty of time, because they only post,
Right.
because they send copies
Right.
here, and they're in the library and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think they actually dropped their publication to, I don't think it's quarterly
It isn't
anymore.
It's
anymore?
only 3.
I think, yeah, I think
How
Donna's
often?
right, I think it's only
3 times a
3
Three,
year,
oh,
yeah.
Mm.
okay.
Yeah, which makes it even harder. But yeah, we do, particularly if they'll reach out to us, I mean, I feel it's in the town's benefit, I feel it's in the performer or the event's benefit to, if it's easy enough to put something out there, I'm happy to do it.
And then if it's being held in the library, the
Mhm.
library will post it. If it's being
Mhm.
held at the senior center, they'll post it. But the fact of the matter is, generally these entities aren't in a position that they can run ads and do much as far as PR. So it's still incumbent upon us to try to supplement it, because it's to our benefit. It makes it a win-win,
Right.
Because if we have, poor attendance, you really can't evaluate the benefit,
Mhm.
but.
Yeah, and it's so hard to have with the lack of people reading newspapers, and newspapers kind of being, very few people read a newspaper. I mean, you might read some articles online or something like that. There are definitely people who do sit down and read the paper every day, but it's not many, and that's why, the Hubbardston People page that Katie Young keeps going is super helpful, cause she probably, I think there's like 2,000 members on there, and for a town our size, that's a really good group of eyes on something. That really bumps things up. And actually, we did get really nice press last week in the Gardner News, because Katie put in about her concert. Katie got a good article in there about the concert series, and we were pretty prominently mentioned, I thought. And I reposted that on our Facebook page as well.
You get the survey on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if they can click right in there. I'm not sure. But I did do the survey. I mean, she's got the survey up in a couple different places.
Yep.
But, so it's variable. I mean, someone local who knows how to find all the right venues, like Katie Young, is gonna be, steps ahead of somebody who is, maybe out in the Pioneer Valley, but who's coming in for one event. That's one of the reasons why we like to have events at either the fair or field day, because we know we'll get a good bang for our buck in terms of eyes on the event.
Yep,
You
I
know,
actually
rather
had
than
a
standalone.
grantee call me a couple weeks ago asking about that very thing, and I actually referred them to Katie Young, cause we had discussed over the phone, when we get field day, you've got,
The fair,
the other one there,
the fair.
thank you, the fair. And then, oh, by the way, Katie Young has put in a grant and she was awarded for 2 sessions of the bandstand. You may wanna contact her, you know, to see if you wanna tag team with her for that space, cause I know she's gonna have some food trucks probably along with the band,
Mhm.
on those events.
And by the way,
Yep.
any of our vendors get free space. She doesn't charge them.
Right.
So,
at the fair.
Mhm.
she's very accommodating.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
she
in
is.
that regard, and we know are getting a best bang for a buck.
Mhm.
By, you know, you get more people there and more opportunity to review it, so we, in many cases, have recommended they do their performances at the fair. And she's also good about coordinating the time factor, so, because she has her band playing, but she'll allocate time for another performer should they need it. And then there's usually a schedule out, so people know that at a particular time, if there's a performance, when it's being done, so.
Mhm.
it's-
Yeah, no, it's great, but it's a work in progress. It's definitely, you know, some of our groups or performers are really good at putting the information out there, and some are, I'll
Not.
get there and it'll happen, and things like that, so it's variable. Were there any other, grants or any other, communication with the grantees or anything, Jonathan, or not right now?
Nope, just, Mr. Lappin's, technical challenge, or get in contact with him,
Right.
as well as that one phone call, and I have to go back to look at my notes somewhere in my laptop. I recorded who it was and what it was a smaller, grantee event that we had, said yes to, and he was looking to piggyback off of
Oh, I see.
one of the town events.
Mhm.
So I threw them Katie's way.
That's great. Did we want to look at the financial report? Is there anything I need to look at in the financial report? Are we okay, or I will try to be a good human about this?
Laurie, our treasurer,
Is
is very
beyond-
good at
yeah, she's like-
producing accurate paperwork, and we've been right, if the pennies are off, she finds where they are and where they should be, and she's really good about it. And you'll find that as she produces things, she will share them with the entire membership.
Yeah, so I'm looking, I have the January 31st, and then what, do we have a February, end of February too? I'm not sure. But one of the challenges of accounting for the funds is when people are granted the funding, they don't get the money until they've done their performance. And so if the money isn't used, or it can, and they have up to a year, I think, after the performance to request the reimbursement, is that it? It's
Yes,
a
they have up
long-
to a year, you have to go past that, you can get approval from the local council, to have that money applied.
Right, so the money can be kind of odd looking, because it's like someone performed but they didn't ask for their money, or we actually don't know if they performed, or, you know, sometimes it gets a little wiggly in terms of the money in, money out, because you're talking about the grants for this year versus outstanding grants from last year, so it gets we get words like unencumbered, which obviously sit really comfortably with me. But did anyone else see anything outstanding in the financial report? I mean, it all looks
I thought
perfect
the
to me.
T's were crossed, the I's were dotted.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this was in our mailbox tonight. It's from the Ware River. They're looking for their money.
Oh, they were
So-
perfect.
Yeah, so, we need 2 signatures, and then it goes, now, I usually hand it to Lori, and then she takes care of it. But who does it go to after that? the town?
I think it
accountant?
goes to the town, the town accountant,
Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably a box
yeah.
for that person, so.
What, can like two of us sign it?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Sure.
So the state Lori will assign us, or allocate the money to us, and then it's, the burden is on us to track it and disperse it. And we use the town for that.
Chairperson,
Sounds familiar.
Donna and I sign it, that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine,
All right.
that's absolutely fine.
Just from the law.
So we have that, and just 'cause you're right here, and I see that your project from last year is on there, were you gonna do that at some point in time?
Oh, I thought it was clear that I had, that I decided against it.
Okay.
Did I tell you,
Yep.
Bill?
Yeah.
So that
Yep.
goes,
Yep.
that
Right,
just
okay,
goes
right
back
into it, yeah.
into our money at this point
Yeah,
in
it's,
time?
it's
Thank you.
considered unencumbered right now, so we
I see it.
can roll into next year.
Okay, I see it sitting there as unencumbered, like I said, words like that frighten me. It's not my thing.
No, unencumbered is good. We like
Okay,
unencumbered.
alright, I like that.
Encumbered is bad, because it's stuck and you can't use it.
That helps, as I said,
You wanna
it's
sign
not, it's not my thing. So we have those, I'm sure that Lori is beyond on top of it. Not a lot happens in the, besides the usual kind of little increments in and out. I know she
We should
meets with, she
take
has to
those
submit the treasurer's
home,
report, I think
copies
that's
of
in the
it.
fall.
Laurie, and
Correct,
get it
there's a
back.
few reports she has to submit, one is the fall one,
Right,
Okay.
then
Okay.
there's one in the spring after the awards are done. The January one, actually, that she's talking about in the email here.
that's the one. Yeah, we have to, keep very close in touch with the state, or with the state cultural council. And our contact at the cultural council reminds us a lot. The wonderful thing about Lori is she pays close attention to those, and I go, okay.
So we have to meet with, I think it's the treasurer, the treasurer of the town here, for those report submissions. It's not just a email, we have to actually
Right,
review it with them.
yes, I believe so, yeah. Lori can give us more information on that, but that's correct. But I do think, and particularly in Lori's absence, she didn't indicate in her email that there was something specific that she wanted us to address in her absence.
Not all.
I didn't see that. And just in terms of emails, Laura, again, emails are fine for, can you meet at this time? I'm going here, I'll go watch that performance, or things like that. It's any decisions that we make about potentially a grantee or anything that would require public notice, is my understanding that we can't
So
do.
basically jury duty rules. You can say hi and be nice, but can't discuss anything of substance.
Yeah, that's true, having not sat on a jury, but yes, thank you. And so.
Get a notification now in 2 weeks.
You're welcome.
I just
Right.
said it.
I submitted an annual report, I think I sent it to all of you guys. I didn't get any feedback from the town, except you sent it. And I kind of based it off a older one, I based it off one of Bill's. Some of the annual reports in the past had been pretty much, like the spreadsheet, just, there was one, it was pretty much, hi, this is what we awarded by. I kind of, tried to make it sound.
Beef it up.
I beefed it up a little bit.
A little bit of Bankman Free going on.
Right, yeah, I tried to kind of, make it sound good. I did not hear that there was a problem with it, nor did I hear that we were non-compliant with doing it, so I will consider it check, done.
Till the night before press time when they call you up, where's that article?
No, they haven't reached out to me, and I think it was due at the end of February, I think. I wanted to let everybody know, I reached out to our veteran service officer. I heard nothing back, to find out if we have awarded a grant, we awarded them a grant last year. we awarded them grant funding this year, there's a group, it's called what, Clear Path for Veterans.
Yeah, exactly.
They're out of Fort Devens, and they do, like a large-scale kind of woodworking craft project. And it's focused on veterans in the area. And I think when we asked, we didn't know like when it was happening or this or that. We actually had to find out if it actually happened. It did. It's a series of workshops.
It's
and
ongoing.
yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. And I think we had one Hubbardston veteran attend, and what we weren't aware of is whether or not they, whether our veteran service officer, which people here alerted me to the existence of, whether they had contact or whether they could let our veterans in town know about this. And so I reached out to her, I think in like January, maybe end of January, and I haven't heard back from her. I followed up with the new town clerk, Kristen, and I said, is this the right email address? She said it was. So she also then provided me with some phone numbers, so I will try that as well and see if I can make any progress that way.
And Laura, just to be clear with that, they're out of Fort Devens, but the workshops are held in Templeton on 2A and whatever building.
An old factory building.
Factory building,
Yeah.
2A, so it's local, it's more local than Devens, not that Devens is that far away, but.
And we went online and saw that what the workshops
Right,
looked
yeah.
like, and they were very productive. It was
Flags.
hands-on and making things, and,
Right,
you know, so.
and we
We'd
tried
like
to.
more details, so.
Right, and we try to, as much as possible when we're awarding grants, to, you know, have we done grants for children, have we done grants for families, seniors, and this was a unique opportunity where we could target a certain group, which were veterans. So we really wanted to support this organization. So we did last year, and we're just trying to get more, you know, get the word out there, a little bit more. Yeah,
Hi, Mike Stahl again. How often are these workshops?
I got the impression that they were,
I think they're
Once
every
a month.
month.
Once a month.
Yeah,
Once a month,
I think they're
okay.
year round and every month. Yeah, that's the impression we got.
yeah, it's called Clear Path for Veterans.
Okay,
if you looked it up, Mike, you might be able to bring up some
Sure.
information, but,
okay.
you know, what we saw when, we looked at it, we were impressed that they were actively working, and, you know, while the veterans were there, if they had any other needs, that they could discuss those. And, it was kinda keeping people's hands active and that type of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah, their application for the 12 months, they anticipate servicing 300 individuals.
You know, altogether, that would be from the Central Mass area.
Yeah, that's what they put on the application.
Yeah, they have a website and everything, and it looks very, up and running.
And what did we grant them?
They asked for 800, we gave them 400.
Yeah, okay. And it might be something we would have to question if in fact only one, that's why we were trying to work through the VSO, to see if she had any idea how many took advantage of it. And, you know, with only one person that we were made aware of, it might be something we'd have to incorporate next year if they ask for a grant, to see if, I mean, it serves the area, that's great, but once again, you know, we're trying to concentrate on our Hubbardston residents, so.
Okay. I'll follow up with a phone call.
Yeah, she's very active, because she's come to other meetings, Memorial Day meetings, she has coffee time over here, she has time set aside, I think once every couple of weeks, for appointments. And she has a full-time job in Worcester, she works at the Veterans Center on
Is
Grove,
she,
yeah.
oh, I didn't know, because
Yeah.
there's that whole new VA building right there at UMass.
Yeah, but she's on Grove Street, so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'll,
I wonder if they were more advertising for it, if she talked about it at the meetings she has, to see if more veterans would go and, you know,
Right.
participate.
Right,
Hubbardston veterans.
yeah. So there'll be more to come on that. I was checking my email, I had reached out to Melissa the other night she attended our African drumming thing, and sent pictures, which was great. Her response on it seemed good, the kids seemed to enjoy it. I was looking for a little bit more information from us, like, you know, were the performers interactive with the students? Was the whole school there? Did the kids have an opportunity to get up and move, or were they just sitting, crisscross on the floor? So I was kind of looking for that type of thing, 'cause we have had, and I couldn't really tell, I think it went well, but we've had performers before who were geared to children, but didn't really seem to like them.
Do you provide people who are attending these, who are supposed to report back with a list of the questions that you want
It's a
answered?
great idea, no, no, I kind of, in retrospect, said, can you tell me a little bit more about this, but that's a good
There's
idea.
one thing I've learned in over 20 years of married life is that there is no telepathy, and if you want something, ask for it directly. And having a checklist would be very helpful for people to be able
Yeah,
to
that would be great.
determine.
My daughter actually attended that
Yeah.
event,
Uh-huh.
and
Great job.
she loved it.
Great.
They did get to stand up and move around. She did not say anything about touching the instruments, though. I have to ask more questions for her. But from my children's-
Interrogate her.
Yeah, from my child's standpoint, she gives it a 2 thumbs up.
Well, great,
Yeah.
that's I think all we really need, and this was a local group.
Yep.
And it was not a lot of money, it was $200. So I would think then if they request funding in the future, you
Yeah,
know.
it was good bang for the buck, from what we gathered.
And they were there for the majority of the day?
Did they go classroom to classroom?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The
it
pictures
was
we
done- it
had
was-
was from the gym.
Yeah, she said it was in the gymnasium, based on what was in the picture. I had to ask her who was in there, but it didn't look like the gym was full, so they may have done periods for each
Yeah.
grade.
And I got the impression they were there for a longer period of time
Yeah,
than
I
like
thought they
an
were
hour.
there the entire day,
So,
yeah.
That-
Right, yeah, I don't know, it wasn't, yeah, so I'm not sure on
And the
that.
pictures we saw certainly looked like they were entertaining, and you
Yeah.
could see, some of the kids from the back, and,
Right.
so.
And they were, it was a very self-sufficient group, which we like. It's like they got in touch with the school,
Yeah.
it was all a go. I think our only concern was we didn't know about it until, I forget how we found out about it. Did you find out about it, Jonathan? Is that how we knew?
Who, was it Melissa that went, or Lori?
Melissa went,
So
but
Whoever, one of the members of the council posted pictures on Facebook, I saw that.
that
and
was
then-
me, I posted
Okay, and then
the
that
picture.
afternoon, when Emerson came home, she started talking about, like, oh, that's right, cause you posted, and then she started talking about it.
Right, yeah, I just wondered how we knew to send
It
Melissa.
was a very short notice, I think.
It was
It was only a
short
couple days.
notice.
Yeah.
I can't remember how we knew that it was happening.
So there's no requirement for the grantee to notify the council of when the performance
We
or
encourage them
activity
to
would
do
be?
that.
We encourage them, but we can't.
They're not required to, but we
Right.
encourage them, and that's why, we will ask, that's why we know where 4 or 5 of them are gonna be, cause they're at the fair, the field day.
Mhm.
And then generally, if it's the library or the senior center or the school is kind of a new one, the library or senior center, we generally find out beforehand. But this one, I think we had just very short notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I forget, Donna, when the tools, cool building stuff guy came the
Mhm.
last time, how did you know about that? Did one of your grandchildren know? Or, I
Maybe.
don't remember how we knew about that one, cause you
Yeah.
went.
But we
Yeah, I
found
did
out, we
go,
knew with
yeah.
plenty of notice for that, I
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Right, I remember
Yeah.
you were able to go.
Yeah, I was able to go, there was no Cory check with that either, which I didn't really understand, because I think I called the school to see if, with this event, if, anyone going had to have a Cory check, but they said, no, absolutely not. So,
Right,
that kinda told me it might be in the gym,
I see.
where,
Plenty of people.
Yeah, there's plenty of
Do
people.
performers have to have one of those checks?
In the schools? At the school,
I'm sorry, what's the question?
wasn't sure.
This, is that a background check, is that what you mean?
Yeah,
So it's a state mandated background check?
yeah.
Sorry, my kids are out of school.
Yeah. It must have been, probably Dominic must have known about it, and that was with whatever his name was now, I can't remember.
Jay Mankita?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was great.
That was a good one.
Yeah, no, and he's supposed to be coming back, we just
Mm.
don't,
No when.
we don't know when, so. But he's supposed to be coming back, and I believe the last time he organized it with the schools, so he's a big boy, and I'm assuming he will. Jonathan, if you hear about it, let us know. Let us know if it's there. I was able to go to the nature walk, and it was actually fairly ironic because the woman who's in charge of the Ware River Nature Club is the former owner of my house. So,
Yeah.
so I know her well. So anyway, we did go. It had to be moved one weekend because the previous weekend it was just too darn cold. Unfortunately, the weather being what it is, by the time we were at that weekend, the weather was okay, but there wasn't as much snow on the ground. But they made it work. It was long. It was from 9 to 12, which is a lot of standing around. But they made it work. They had good attendance. I was kind of nosing around to kind of ask the woman who led the group, Wendy. I said, "Are some of these people you didn't expect?" And she said, "Yes. They definitely have people in their nature club who attend all these events. So there was some crossover between nature club people." And she said, "No, there's some new people here that I haven't met them before."
Were there a lot of people?
I would say there was a total of 12 to 14. So I thought that on it, and it was not as cold as the previous weekend, but there was a chilly wind out there. And to ask people to go to something like that for 3 hours on a Saturday morning is a pretty big ask. But the gentleman was just beyond knowledgeable, very knowledgeable, apparently has quite a local following, so people know of him. We were mentioned right away. They didn't have a sign or anything, we were standing at the picnic table, but we were mentioned right away. How thrilled they were to be there, and again, their pre-work of sending me information so I could post it. She didn't even ask me to post it, she's not a social media person, but she sent it to me, and so I was able to post it easily. She took care of her other press, and she was very responsive in terms of when they canceled. It wasn't like, are these people gonna cancel or what? I mean, I think she gave like 3 days' notice and then changed the date. But yeah, I would support, and they were extremely appreciative of the grant. And I sent them pictures and they loved having pictures, so.
Was that the weekend it was 13 below, they decided to bail?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, yeah. I would certainly support it again. It's a smaller grant, but very local organization, had everything organized and they were ready to go. So, yeah, I would.
Would it have been more effective if it was done in April or May as opposed to,
No, he wants snow.
yeah, that's what I thought. I mean,
Yeah,
based
he
on the
wants
pictures
snow.
I saw, he was.
You want that permafrost in place and.
No, I mean, there were parts he was looking at that didn't have snow, but he wanted snow. Yeah.
What was the location?
We were up at the right on Mount Jeff Road,
Okay,
the town forest property right there.
okay.
So we met right there, and we actually, because my husband came and he's on the open space and he knows those trails really well, so he was working with them to kind of say, well, this is like north with no southern exposure over this way, so maybe we'll find more snow. But we mostly just ended up wandering around in all the fields up there. you know, and finding snow and finding tracks and.
Did you go down to the Burnshirt River, which is a tributary of the Ware?
No, we didn't
Okay.
go that far.
I just, because it's called the Ware River,
Right.
I was wondering if the river was involved at all.
No, it's the Ware River Nature Club,
Right.
is what they call themselves. They're out of, the woman who's one of the chief organizers, she lives in Hardwick. But I don't know if they have a specific,
Do you recall what her name was?
Wendy Howe,
Okay.
H-O-W. I think that's her last name.
Wendy
Yep,
Howe is in
Wendy Howe.
formerly of Hubbardston, Wendy Howe?
Yes, she owned my house.
Oh,
Where
that's
I
a
live
nice
now.
house.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting house with an interesting history, but yes, yeah. Yeah, it just turned out, and when this is a total aside, but when we bought our house, it was not through a realtor. They didn't wanna sell to a realtor. They wanted to kind of interview the people buying the house. They were very specific about it.
Sounds like Wendy.
Yeah, it was very specific about it, but anyway.
They still sold you.
Anyway, I think it was more sold to my husband, but, anyway, I would totally support bringing them back,
Good feedback.
you know, if they ever wanted to come again, I would totally bring them back, they were great. I don't know if we have any upcoming events, I would think it's the tools and building guy at the school, unless he's coming in the fall, I don't know.
I've not heard anything yet.
And I know that,
I'd be more than happy to reach out to him.
oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll do that.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Bill.
Just make a phone call or an email and just say, hey, when are you planning on doing it, so that we can coordinate.
Right, and the pastel man, Greg, I think he's scheduled in May already. He's all set to go for that. I think there's the people for the one guy for the fair. Lori's concerts are TBD. The listening center is ongoing. Do we know anything about, our friend Dennis Cormier?
Yeah. I haven't
Dennis
heard
is the
anything.
sweetest man.
Yeah,
I mean, has he in the past, he's reached out directly through the senior center?
Yes.
yeah, he usually,
Okay,
that's
And
what
he's
he-
done it around Christmas in the past, and,
right.
yeah. But, I can reach out to him too, if you'd like.
I think it's only March, I'm sure
Yeah.
Dennis
What's,
likes doing what
Do you
he's
know the
doing.
name of the guy for the tools and building I could look up?
JMANKITA.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'll look it up on our group
Yeah.
and,
Right.
I'll reach out.
Dennis was in the spring, the time he did the Elvis, that was
yeah, I
in
think it was,
May,
yeah, he did
April
one
and
in
May.
spring and they did one around Christmas.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we have the ones who will be at at Field Day. The drummers have already come. Uniquely Quabbin is ongoing. The Ware River Nature Club is what we did. The Clear Path yeah, so I think we kind of know when things are all happening.
Potter's Wheel?
He is at, Field Day.
Okay.
He's usually at Field Day.
Can we, send Laura and Melissa a list of the, grants that have been awarded? I don't think you know
Sure.
who got
Can do
them
that,
or anything like that,
Yeah, we can do that.
yeah. Would that be the responsibility of the secretary to do that?
I don't know, I mean, I have,
Okay.
I have, Jonathan's
I can do
beautiful
it if you want.
Excel
Why don't you
spreadsheet.
work on it? Okay, if, I say send it to Melissa and to Laura, so you have an
Okay.
idea of who we granted, how much it is, and so on and so forth, to get you up to speed.
Right.
In terms of getting them on the system, they need to sign up first, correct, and then we add them in, or do we add their account information first and then they sign up?
To whom?
Oh, to the state, to the Mass Cultural
Mass
Center.
Cultural.
Smart Simple system.
Yeah, I would say we, would need to have them signed up to the system first.
And then we add them in?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So it's called Smart Simple, and I'll send you the link, information for that.
Thank you.
That's the portal, everything's up there, all the grants that we've approved and denied for this program year. Unfortunately, they don't keep the historical stuff up, so we can't go back and look, previous, applications, but.
And we'll also get you on the town website as well. And I think actually I do an update on our state site.
There's a profile section, we have to change all that up,
That I
yep.
need to change that up, okay, I can do that. So I don't think we have any new events coming up. One thing that I neglected to put on the agenda was we had talked about, in terms of seeking out new members, we had talked about doing something to send out in the schools.
Yep, that's on my radar, for this
Great.
month to get flyers printed out and blasted out to the classrooms
Beautiful.
for mom and dad.
Beautiful. And I don't think there's really anything that we have to approve. I'm sure the school has to approve it, right?
We have to send the flyer to Jessica Bennett, she's the secretary there at the main office, she'll approve it, and then I send it over to Janice Roddy, the paper, and then she'll distribute them through the folders through each of the classrooms.
Do you have to give them the however many, 200 sheets of paper?
I actually provide them the paper, yeah.
So you give them the paper,
Yep.
so you'll let us know and we can reimburse you?
Yep, so I'll, if I can use the template that we had before, or I can create something new, I'll run up to Staples, print them out, once I get the approval from Jessica, and then I'll run them over to Janice.
Yeah, I think usually most people's questions are, my time is valuable, how often do you meet, what's my commitment, and things like that. Usually people ask that. I think my only thing in terms of putting the information out there, seeking out new members, I don't think I thought we represented ourselves fine, but I felt like our the member that we had who wasn't with us very long,
Mhm.
and I don't know if there's a way to say, be computer savvy, you know, or be, this will require a little bit of computer knowledge, or is that not necessary, you think? Or would you think if you're skewing to parents in a school system that they would already be there?
That sounds like very exclusionary language,
Yeah.
very off-putting.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't think there's any way I could say that.
No, that's really the exception to the rule. If they're interested, we talk with them, have that discussion first, figure out,
Sure.
what they're comfortable with, and if there's some sort of challenge, we help them overcome that without having to exclude.
And recommend, if
Yep.
appropriate, they come to a meeting, like,
Sure.
before they take the next step, that type of thing.
Right.
And I think Nancy too was, because I know you're talking about Nancy, she was more of a hands-on.
Right,
give me a
she wanted
hammer
to do
and some
projects.
nails, and I'll be right there to build that
Right.
access, walkway or whatever you need me for, but computer, not so much.
Right,
And
it just wasn't a fit, I think, more than anything
No, and I
else.
tried to tell her that one meeting she came to, there was a lot of stuff going on with the finances. And I think she thought that's what we were all about, and I said, no, it's not that at all, just relax, come to another meeting,
Mhm.
you'll see, it's as simple as 5 or 6 meetings a year, and, we talk about different applications, and we get input from everybody and decide which applications we like the best, and that's really the sum and substance of it all. You don't have to do anything on the computer, really.
Right, and I think just, someone who's, do you have an opinion about what comes to the town?
Yeah, we
Join
wanna
us.
hear it, yeah.
Yeah,
But she was more, I gotta jump in, and I guess maybe that's how she is, she's just,
right, yeah,
she's, 24/7, she's busy, even
Right.
at 80, whatever she is.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, yeah, no, thank you.
I also, while we're on recruitment for the time being, I guess officially, there would be 3 members. Melissa, Laura, and Jonathan as of the 30th of June.
Correct.
So we're seeking out to get 5, if not more, so we still need 2. And I think that the plan of action is a good one, that we're gonna send out those flyers in the next month. And then, but I also recommend that for the time being, we invest another potential day and go to the fair. And so when the applications go out, I'll sign us up for that. We can always back off if we got plenty of members by that time. But if need be, to be there that day, it was successful last time when we did it. So I would recommend doing that if, in fact, is necessary. I'd like to see the full committee and potentially at least one alternate. That would be the best case scenario.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. The name Hubbardson Cultural Council, to me, without being here, doesn't mean anything to me as a resident of Hubbardson. I mean, when I first heard, like, okay, I don't know who they are, but whatever. But when I talked with you, and I think it was you, and I got more information about it, it's like, oh, this is neat. Hey, you guys do this is great. Having those conversations really did help, you know.
Yeah, and if needed, but we should make that decision, I think, before the end of June. I think that's when
Yep.
we term out, is if it's not successful recruiting, I believe any one of us who's currently on, I believe we can be reappointed for a limited period of time as safe harbor, I believe is the.
And we can also carry the council forward under the 5. We just can't vote in the fall until we have the quorum needed, correct?
Right,
So if we need that whole summer to fill those 2 spots,
right,
we
yeah.
can still do that as well.
And therefore, the reason to be at the fair, should that be necessary, and hand out flyers or whatever it would be, so, good.
Okay. All right, we'll keep that going. Thank you, Jonathan. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, and I brought copies, we are we're supposed to do a survey of the town. I forget what the time frame is. It's fairly frequent that they're looking for. It's usually, and this is per the state Mass Cultural Council, they're looking for us to survey the town to make sure that we're appropriately distributing funds that we just don't think is good for the town, that this is what the town wants. And it's at least, I think it's once every 3 years. It may even be more frequently. It might be even every other year.
I think 3 years rings a bell.
Right, so we
But
did
it's been that
do-
amount of time since we've done it, I think.
Right, yeah, so what I brought, and Donna and Bill, this will be familiar to you. This is the PowerPoint that I made, that we presented actually to the select board the last time we had a survey. If you'd like.
Do you haven't, if you need that,
No, I don't, no,
Oh.
I have a million,
Well, thank
no, I'm
you very
good,
much.
it's online. So this is what we distributed, yeah, it has been a while, it was 2018. But
Was,
this,
yeah.
yeah, but this is what we distributed in the past. It was a SurveyMonkey survey. Some of them were done, that's what we were doing at the fair, actually, we were having people fill it out at the fair, which was hard to do. Oh, the comments are hilarious.
I wanna see less rock throwing, less fights, more get together, people are always throwing rocks.
Yes.
I'm thinking he means it
this is on the
metaphorically.
web, I mean, this is posted, right? On
Um,
the website, the survey, cause I read those same comments.
Yeah,
about the-
at some point in time, it might have been, I'm not sure. I mean, I presented it to the select board,
Okay,
just so they would know, so it may well be.
But
I
if you
mean-
saw it, it must have been posted.
Right, yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
part of their
I mean,
minutes.
I definitely remember those
The comments were
yes.
pretty funny. But, so we had people fill it out at the fair. It was challenging. Where we did better was online. We just set up a SurveyMonkey survey, we did it online. With the advent of our Facebook page, plus the People of Hubbardston Facebook page. I feel that electronically, we should be good to go, I would think. I forget how many respondents we had the last time, I don't quite.
137 total
Yeah,
respondents.
which,
yeah.
so, which isn't bad, but we can, and we should probably think about timing, and also, are these still questions, that we want on the survey, at this point in time? And I believe that you only get a certain number of, responses on SurveyMonkey. So, we may have to, I think we had to pay money, to, keep our SurveyMonkey, to get that number of responses analyzed. They usually only give you a certain number to get analyzed.
Does the town have a Google Drive account?
I would
Because
think so.
Katie's always sending out Google Forms for surveys.
She has the 36 Hubbardston, is it 350, 250 we just?
250.
Is the 250th email account I think that she's using for that. Those surveys. When the 250th committee formed, they had that Gmail account, and she
Mhm.
still uses that, especially for the Dingy Dash and all the other.
So it's a Katie thing and not a town thing?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, so that form you saw is probably that from that 250th account.
Cause I remember there was talk years ago about the town itself having a Google Drive account, so that they could use forms and docs.
No, when I talk with her, town business is usually through that email address. In fact, the award letters I sent out in January had that Hubbardston 250th email address on it for the response for the field day. If you want to contact about field day, contact Katie at hubbardston250@gmail.com.
Now, I guess the bigger question is, the town does not provide any infrastructure for communication at all to the committee?
I'm not aware of any. You may want to ask to see if it is there. We just don't know it.
They could email everybody in the town, and that's actually, I believe that's how the information about the survey went out as well.
Right,
I
town
think the
email
towns-
only though, there's no other services, like Gmail has the forms, the drive and all that other stuff, but we have nothing like that, it's just the email, correct?
Website, yeah.
Right, yeah, as
Yeah.
far as I know.
Okay.
I mean, I find using SurveyMonkey to be pretty simple. They also will analyze the data for you, and then you can just make slides with it, just pull the whole thing.
Well, I was thinking more in terms of an official town entity having an official town repository of knowledge, because then you would have that historical data that you said you don't have with the Commonwealth's website.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so, I don't know, not sure on that.
I'm gonna guess no, based on my experience.
Probably
I'm
not.
thinking it's probably a no, but, and when we report to the cultural council, the state cultural council, you just basically click a box and say, have you surveyed your town? And you say yes or no. The state cultural council site also has a sample survey, which some of these questions, yeah, we definitely lifted some of these questions, from the state site. But I don't think I think we should think about a timeline for when we would like to do this. I think probably before Memorial Day, I think would be important, before people are, graduating, vacationing, all kinds of things like that. Or it can be put off until the fall, but I think essentially, it probably should be done this spring, I would think. but maybe not too close on the heels of Katie's survey, but Katie's survey was pretty short.
Well, I've reviewed the questions, and I think they touch all the spots, and the potential choices, answers are
Mhm.
comprehensive enough that it pretty well spelled out. And, you know, I would also concur that doing it in the spring would be a good idea. How much work is that requiring on your part as far as?
Not hard.
Okay.
Not hard, particularly if we're not making many changes to the questions. No, it's not hard, and the survey actually still exists on SurveyMonkey, but I would probably put it in as a new survey.
And that way, we would, let's say, for example, I would say 137 responses is good.
Mhm.
And if you do it and we get the respondents and we get that sort of number, we wouldn't have to worry about that at the fair. We wouldn't
Yeah,
have to do it
and-
manually.
and
Or
I-
we could have it there to
Right.
augment our numbers, but.
Right, and we can also use it to give us more visibility, which is what I try to do with our Facebook account, is give us visibility in the town, so they know that we're here and that we're sponsoring things. Cause I do think that the awareness of our cultural council for a town our size has improved, you know, a fair bit. So I think I would wanna, you know, maybe target maybe right around the middle of April and keep it open for like 3-4 weeks.
Is that what you did? You had a certain time frame that they could respond?
Yeah, you don't want it to dribble.
Mhm.
You wanna, and even 4 weeks is,
It's a lot.
4 weeks is kinda long, but you want word to get out and things like that.
And do you use the Facebook page to communicate the survey in the past? How did you get it out to the public in general?
I think I used we used the in-person at the fair,
Right.
and then I hand entered the results that we got at the fair, and then the remaining was from our Facebook page, but I think more came from, and we can ask the town to do this again, they can
That's what I
send
would
it.
do. The
we-
town got involved and did it last time?
They send out an email with the link.
That'll do it?
Yeah, and I asked them to do it, and they
Okay.
did, it was easy. I think we tried to leave some at the senior center. I don't know, and I'm more than happy to do that again, I don't know if that was effective. I don't remember if we did that or not.
Clearly, one senior responded, I just read one of
Yeah.
his comments.
Yeah.
Couldn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I
As long as you
could,
collect them in time.
right.
You know, in the time frame you're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly print it, and so they have and I mean, it probably wouldn't be more than 10 or 20, and that's, you just log in and you just enter the results manually, and they go in. Or if I believe they have computer access in there. I mean, I may be not thinking they would wanna sit down on the computer, but I'm sure plenty of them would. If you said you can either do it on paper, if you wanna log in, just go right in. Cause all you have to do is click a link, you just need an internet access, click a link.
So why don't we agree to it, time frame?
Okay, alright. Is all in favor of, doing the survey, redoing it as the previous questions? If people think of other questions, or if you wanna think on it a few days, let me know. But are all in favor of, posting the survey online on SurveyMonkey in probably mid-April, keeping it open for approximately 3 weeks, and also distributing some paper copies to the senior center with also the login information for SurveyMonkey.
I'll make a motion that we go along with doing exactly what you just said.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Right.
Beautiful.
Okay, there we go.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I may need, because I think I will have to bump up the account access based on the results. You can post a survey for free, but after a certain number of results, they won't, collate or analyze the data for you unless you give them some money.
Now, when you say collate and analyze, do you mean just summarize the findings? They don't do any data analysis, they just say,
They just summarize it, yeah.
have you looked into Google Forms? I don't think it has any limitations like that.
I don't like it.
can
I'd
attach-
rather use something that I've used before,
You
which
can
is.
attach Excel to the back end of it, so the form itself, and you click a button and it creates a separate little Excel workbook next to it, and it populates all the data from the form into Excel, and then you just do it like an Excel sheet summary at the bottom,
Mm,
or whatever column that you want,
on the Google,
on the Google, yeah.
right.
Jonathan, you'll help her if she, should.
Yeah, if you
Right.
want.
So
Yeah.
it's a Google survey?
It's called Google Forms.
Yep.
And it's a simplified portal. It's what Katie used to do the band survey, the concert survey.
Right.
So the user interface, which is what the user sees, is very simple. Answer a question, click yes or no, radio button, whatever. But then it populates that spreadsheet so that you can go in later and get totals and averages and aggregates.
So we did a, with
Can
our-
you have multiple answers though?
You can have answers that are long form text, you can have answers, I mean, a person can't do the survey twice if that's what you.
But is it more than a yes or no?
Oh, absolutely.
So we did, with our Troop and Garner, we did a rock climbing event, and I used Google Forms for the event. And the editor literally looks like this. You build out your questions. This is all text here. When you come down to the bottom, here are all the questions, right? Just like SurveyMonkey, right? And then the back end, get over to the, here's the back end of it. It literally looks like an Excel sheet. So
Mhm.
all that stuff on the form you just filled out, it pops in a row right here.
Okay.
And then just like regular Excel, you go at the bottom and you add your aggregates that you want,
Mhm.
you know, average, sum, whatever you want.
Okay.
And it's something that someone else can set up so that you
Yep.
can just use it and benefit from the data and not have to organize it.
Yeah.
Right, no, I
You-
can totally do it. I
Yeah.
have Google and I have all the little
Yep.
googly things there. I will look at both.
Yep.
I haven't done anything on SurveyMonkey in a while.
Okay.
So if SurveyMonkey does those things, I would probably stay with that. But if SurveyMonkey doesn't do the back end things,
Yep.
that may, the analysis or the spreadsheet, then I may switch.
Okay, if there are limitations and you wanna switch, we can get you set up.
Right, yeah, no, I can probably,
Yeah, and you
I can probably do.
you can spruce up the form, you can put in the Hubbardston Cultural Council logo, you can change the background colors, thematic colors, put a banner in there, like a picture of field day or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can spark it up.
So I put in photos, I put in links to other sites like the Central Rock Gym, I put in their website link there for more information, so you can deep link into that if you
Mhm.
want.
Mm-hmm.
You put groups for different categories like costs, schedules, you know, locations,
Right.
things like that.
Right.
You can even deep link into other things as well, to click more information if you want outside the form.
Right, okay.
So, yeah,
All right, I mean, I definitely want something that people can just click.
Yep.
Yeah, so
You
the
know.
user experience is almost identical to SurveyMonkey, it's just click, 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 type, rant, done.
Right, okay, all right, I'll take a look.
and just like Katie's form with the bandstand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I know that when, the town administrator was inviting us to this chairs thing at 4:00 today, he used a Google Doodle poll,
Mm-hmm.
and that was not working. I was just like, okay, this doesn't work, buddy. Or, anyway, it was not, the interface was not friendly, and so I was like, and I don't know what the attendance was at that event. this afternoon. Did you happen to go to that event? Yeah, I don't know. I offered our information or offered the possibility of meeting us, but we didn't, so that's fine. But, so we will, I will, resend the survey to Lori, so she can also, see if she has any input or things like that, and we'll go from there. In terms of another meeting, do you think we should do one just prior to releasing a survey, after we release a survey?
After,
Great.
and we can have feedback from that,
Yeah, okay,
and then plan accordingly, I think would be fine.
okay, alright. So, and I think it would be good for potentially like early May then, early to mid-May, but probably, no later than that.
I would recommend we don't do a Wednesday night.
Wednesdays are hard for you, okay.
Yes.
Alright, when we ask for, it's a little trickier to get this room. And so I kind of threw out a bunch of things to the town and then let it stick. So perhaps, I can ask the town about potentially Tuesday, either Monday, May 8th or Tuesday, May 9th. Both work for me.
As a suggestion,
Yes.
if you look at the monthly calendar, and you can look back, but a lot of the boards, commissions, whatever,
They have
all
a schedule.
Right, and they tend to front end load the first couple weeks of the month, and usually, you know, by the fourth week of the month, there's not so many meetings and whatnot, so you might be able to slip in, you know, the third or fourth week of the month to get the room. Might be easier, especially if you run the survey mid-April to mid-May, let's just say, then as Bill's suggestion was to have the next meeting after the survey is completed or nearing completion, that would put you mid to late May. And still get you in maybe before Memorial Day. When's Memorial Day this year?
29th.
29th, okay, so you could,
Okay.
just as a suggestion,
Right,
I just.
yeah, no, thank you.
But alternatively, there's also senior center, we can still do meetings at the senior center should there be a conflict. But the earlier you request the date, the better
Mhm.
off you are.
Yeah, I think we were strongly recommended not to do that, to be in the
It makes it a
same.
little more complicated if there's two meetings going on, but we've done it.
Right, yeah, I believe it's the video factor.
Yeah.
But I'm already seeing, cause they have this handy dandy calendar, I'm already seeing that Tuesday, May 9th is not good, but Monday, May 8th is good.
So if you put that in now.
I don't think I can just write it in,
No, I mean,
but
if you,
I
would
absolutely
email the
should put a
clerk.
big X through it, your name.
we're here.
Yeah.
Why don't I go ahead and request Monday, May 8th?
That's good.
And
6:30?
see, excuse me, yes.
6:30?
Yeah. Why don't I go ahead and request that and see what happens?
'Cause we're leaving on the 10th, we won't be back until the 19th.
Oh, that's even better than May, is
So
good.
the 8th
Yeah.
would be good,
Okay.
or the following, like 22nd, 23rd.
Yeah, I'd like
But
to,
that's close to Memorial.
yeah,
No,
once,
right. And
once,
then we'll be deciding on whether or not we're gonna do the fair.
Right.
yeah,
Cause
yeah.
then we'll have also the feedback from, potential new members, and we can invite those new members
Right.
there. Also make an open invitation to guests and
Mhm.
potential members,
Right,
so,
have a meeting
yeah.
and things like that, yeah. Okay. Jonathan, do you have a, target date for sending something out in the schools, or?
Not yet, it
That's
usually
fine.
takes a week to get through the whole process.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
I'll start that next
time-consuming.
week.
Yeah. And will they contact, do you think, being more of a known person in the school and having children in the school, do you think it would be better if the contact person is you? I'm happy to be the contact person.
It honestly doesn't matter, they have a very finite process, clear and concise what you need to do, there's a little thing you gotta put on the banner, you gotta get approved. The only real contact I would have would be with Janice when I hand off the paper, but that, you know, we can always include instructions on what to do with it there as well,
Okay.
so.
Right, I'm happy to have people contact either one of us, doesn't,
No, that's fine, I'll take on that monkey, that's fine.
okay. I mean, because you're a known entity, and because I moved here once my children were grown,
You could also put a call for members into the senior center newsletter they publish every month.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's great,
They're always looking for content.
Would you like me to do that?
that'd be great,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, I would like to get a mix of all age
Oh,
groups
yeah,
in the
no, it
community if
would
that's
be
possible.
great.
I don't wanna swing the opposite direction, you know, with all young,
You saying I'm old?
no.
Not
That's
with
not
that
what
hair,
I said,
baby.
no.
That's okay.
I've been admiring your hair all night, I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
New,
Nice,
we know, we have.
subtle.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's
Subtle yet
it's
stunning.
gotten it's actually lasted pretty long. I've had it for about 4 weeks now. I forget how long, but it's fun. I like it. Some people in my family aren't too excited, but that's okay. It's not their hair.
Wait, does hubby approve?
I'm being filmed.
Pause.
Yeah, this is a public record here.
Yeah.
He's a town person. No, I'm not going to comment on that. I think he is neutral.
Deep red, man.
You're killing me.
Record the time.
So we are adjourned. I so appreciate everybody coming out tonight. The weather was actually good, which is nice. Laura, you're so welcome here.
Thank you.
It's
And,
wonderful to have you.
I got my new toy.
Yeah, and Bill knows this, but I didn't bring it up because I'm foolish, but I have a lot of publicity experience.
Oh, wonderful.
That's why I
Sure
was
does.
asking, how much work am I gonna have to do?
Ready, willing, and able.
Yep.
Wonderful. And what kind of work do you do when you're not here?
I am a presentation designer, so
Oh my
I
gosh.
take complicated data and make it super simple so that everyone can understand it and also be excited and motivated by it.
Wow. Wow. Do you do that independently or?
No, I work for a cybersecurity organization.
Wow.
And I'm working in their communications department, and I've got exposure to all of the social media monitoring that they do, and the communications department deals specifically with existing members. They are not marketing, they're not attracting new members, they are communicating to those who already are there. So
Wow.
they have some dust-ups with members who are very vocal about things that they hate, which people can be very opinionated about any membership organization. And then they have other members that are delighted to be there, super excited about starting in cybersecurity. So it runs a gamut between having to put out fires, but also nurture